Okay, we are on the record. Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. This is the caucus of the Jersey City Municipal Council. Today is Monday, August 12th. We had a scheduled 10 a.m. start. It's 10:55. We had a closed caucus that went lengthy prior to this meeting. We apologize for that. I'm not even going to take a roll call. We have a full house except for Councilperson Baggiano.
What happened? Occasions?
Council President, you want to take it away?
Great. Good morning, everyone. All right. As you can see, we have a thick agenda again. I think I say that at the start of every meeting. So we'll try to move through this as expeditiously as possible. So we'll start with Director Shea.
Okay.
Director Shea has 4 resolutions.
Yep, and Director Caucus is with me, and
And Director Kirsten McNeese, right?
Yep.
David McNeese.
Yep.
For communications. So Director Shea has start at the top, Director.
okay, which is
Well, I guess it's 28, which is Director Kears's item.
Good morning, President Barrow.
Resolution 28, folks.
I'm here to speak on...
No, that's not it.
48 it is.
48?
48.
36, 46, 47, 48.
Okay, so this is not the top.
36, 46, 47, 48.
48.
So, you want to start at the top with 36?
Sure, 36 is, good morning, everybody. 36 is a resolution authorizing the city to apply for funds from the Department of Law and Public Safety, Division of Criminal Justice, to purchase body armor for the 2019 Body Armor Replacement Fund. That's the state fund that distributes money to replace body armor as it's expiring. There is no amount yet because they'll set that. All we're asking is permission to apply for the funds.
Okay, any questions, folks?
So by this way, how many body armors we can change?
That depends on what they grant us and how many. We'll tell them the expiration dates of all ours. They'll grant us a certain amount to replace a certain amount.
Okay, your next item is 46.
46 is Dave, the kid. Dave, you want to take over? It's technical. He's more equipped to answer these questions.
David McNeese is the communications.
Yep.
This is a resolution ratifying the award of a contract to Astra Software Corporation to provide annual support and enhancement for the Department of Public Safety, Division of Communications and Technology, computer-aided dispatch system pursuant to New Jersey statutes annotated 40A 11-5. David, it's yours.
Correct. Good morning, Mr. President and Council. This is, as you said, the annual software for the fire dispatch until the new CAD system is written by the new CAD company, which will be Mark 43. This is the Astra software that the fire department has used for the last 25 years. Any questions?
Any questions on that, folks?
When is the new software supposed to be ready?
Estimate about the next 6 to 8 months. Give or take, because of, with technology and writing,
And this is an annual contract?
This is an annual contract.
So if we transition to the new system, do we pay out the full contract?
Well, even if we transition, the idea is you'd have to run both systems to make sure, because unfortunately with any new system, you're going to have a few kinks. So the idea would be to run them simultaneously to make sure everything is running smoothly and nothing is dropped with any calls.
Okay, any other questions on 46? Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item is 47. It's a resolution authorizing the award of a contract to Atlantic Ambulance Corporation for EMT training for the Department of Public Safety.
Yeah, this is the EMT training for our new firefighters that they undergo. It's the same company that we use to train them all the time, Atlantic Ambulance.
But as I understand, when we give the contract to Jersey MUF, the EMT contract, I thought Jersey Medical Center provide the first response, they train EMT training, which is part of the contract without cost of City of Jersey City. Can't you look at the contract when we do that? I still remember, I'm pretty sure 3 persons here on the floor.
I think what it is...
Danny, me, Joyce Waterman,
I think
Donovan.
what it is the, it's not the actual instructional report. What they do is that they do the recertifications, which EMPs have to do every several years. But as far as the director is saying here, this is the initial training for the new firefighters as they're coming on the job.
Yeah, the hospital does the research, but the initial training, which is 3 months, goes through this Atlantic
And
ambulance.
also, when my son trained the EMT, actually one of the EMT places sponsor him as a non-profit organization. He doesn't have to pay tuition for that. But in the city of New Jersey, we are firefighters, a non-profit organization in the city of New Jersey. Why we have to pay? I mean, they should be provided free. And maybe sponsored by Jersey Medical Center or Care One? Care One?
I'm not aware of anyone that offers this training free.
No.
It's more of a
This-
suburban thing.
Not the suburban thing. So when my son took the class, and the Caucus Hospital, used to be Maryland Hospital, they hold the actual EMT training course. At the time, one of the, Jersey City was one of the places sponsored non-profit
not aware of
organization.
anybody doing
So they get the free, no spoil. Yes.
Really?
Take a look. Yes.
Yeah, if you forward that information, we'll take a look at it.
Yes, please. Yes.
I'm Jerry. It's first time hearing about it, we'll look into it.
Yes, please. Because it's a 25,000 is a whole lot of money. Training around the 15 people, but the 25 people, but we look at it. If it's not necessary, we have to pay. If there was some kind of a,
They're going to look into it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
all right, good.
Okay.
Okay, and then your next item is 48.
That's correct.
It's a resolution authorizing the award of a contract to Millennium Communications for the purchase, installation, and configuration of security cameras for City Hall through interlocal purchasing system, funded by the Office of Emergency Management and Homeland Security through the FY18 UASI grant.
Good morning, Mr. President, members of the council. This is actually Phase 2. During the last council meeting, you had approved the funds for the installation of the new security equipment at the front gate, front desk actually, which will actually be starting within the next several weeks. Also, the exterior cameras, we were short a camera on the Mercer Street side, so we're installing one there. That'll give us coverage, complete coverage in the front of City Hall and the Mercer Street side. We already have cameras in the rear, and we're replacing the camera at Grove Street, which initially was installed in 2009, upgrading that to the similar type camera.
So you just replace the camera itself.
One is being replaced, and we're actually adding a second one at Mercer and Grove.
Where are you going to be second one to install?
Mercer and Grove. That'll cover the front of the building, because we noticed there was a gap on the Mercer Street side, and also down as far as the parking area, where we have cameras that cover that area. So the complete circumference of City Hall will be on the video.
So, one thing we can, no question about you do that most fantastic job provide City of New Jersey City.
Thank you, sir.
Really. So you are the most response to the community too. But my concern is that if we see that the Central Avenue, there were a lot of CCTV. Actually, there was a second phase in 1990, put a CCTV. So a lot of camera is not working condition. Not only that, special camera located Franklin and the Plaza Avenue, the camera actually blocked by traffic light pole and the tree. So those kind of things, without huge cost, we just should be relocate things. Even several cameras system in the Central Avenue, they should be reposition of the camera or just relocate, just blocks away, not blocks away. What tree trims require, what instead the current place, maybe move up to a traffic light pole. Something has to be done because we keep invest a lot of money in CCTV, but because of they install wrong location, location at the pole, wrong location of the area, it's not 100% to provide service. City of Jersey, what we're looking for public safety. I think we look into that matter also. Not only continue to add the camera is one thing, but we should have some adjustment to fine tuning is required,
We actually have done that, Councilman. If you recall, several months ago, I had sent an email to all the council people with a so-called wish list for cameras that in your specific wards. As a matter of fact, I got an email from Councilwoman Prince Area over Gifford Avenue. Basically, if there's a camera in place like you're describing, it's a lot cheaper to just upgrade that with a new camera. Prices cost anywhere between $6,000 and $8,000 depending on the type of camera. A new camera location costs anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 depending on the connectivity with the fiber. But what I'm trying to do is take the funds that we have available to us now and spread them to areas that the council is receiving complaints on. So if there's a camera in place, like the one at Gifford and Bergen, we'll just upgrade that. We'll make sure it's operational and get it going. Some of the other thing I'm trying to do also too is in your respective wards, a lot of the parks don't have cameras, so we're trying to put cameras into the parks also. But that's a work in progress.
Just my wishes, don't forget us.
Nope, absolutely not.
Heights, okay?
Absolutely not.
Director, thank you for all the cameras that we got over on the south side of the city. I just have this one wish list. Are we any closer to the Bethune Center, getting their camera system back in? I know
It's an internal system. There was problems with it. I know I had discussed that with Director Stamato down at DPW. They basically, Councilman, the whole system's got to be pulled out and replaced. It's an old DVR. There is the possibility, it's more than a possibility, of hooking that right into the city system because there's cable all over that area up there. We never really took a look at it again after that. I think the initial replacement was about $5,000 or $6,000, but it was all interior, and it was nothing that would be feeding into the system. If you want, I'll be happy to take a look at it and see if we can, add that in there too.
Yes, because we're up there, we have security,
Yep.
but it's just a security guard.
Yeah.
There's no metal detectors, and we have a lot of residents that use that place on a day-to-day basis. And we just want to make sure we protect the residents and ourselves as the city.
We could do an assessment on it and, come back with a price and then, depending on.
Please, thank you.
Okay, any other questions on any items?
Yeah, so Director, you and I previously discussed getting the policies and procedures around the camera.
Thank you, Karen.
And we talked about it. I've actually made a formal request under Faulkner Act powers for that document. It's August. I don't know what date it is.
So there is no document, right?
I understand. Yeah, but you said that you would. But, but I need a date because it's now been months that we've been discussing this and it hasn't happened.
Okay, I can have it for you by next council meeting.
Okay, September 11th?
Yeah, I can have it for you by next.
That's fine by my end, but I just need to make that date.
Okay, other questions, council members?
So can I-
Go ahead.
I have a question that's off topic, so I don't want to take us off this.
Okay, let me just take a quick, go back to 47 for a second. I'm sorry about that, the trust account, on that, which trust account is this?
47?
Yeah,
That would be the fire department's.
fire department's trust
Yeah,
account?
so that's the EMT training, yeah, so that would come out of the fire department. That's the account that, there's not separate bank accounts, they're just lines in the city that account where the money came from. I learned all this. But that would be the one account that's funded by the fire department's fines. So if somebody receives a fine, that money goes into that account, and I think by state law, it can only be used for
Fire-related.
training, fire-related stuff, so. The fire chief obviously spends that money first before he does anything.
I got it. Could we get the balance on that
Sure,
account?
I'll have the fire chief get it back to you. He has that, Steve. Yep. That's yours.
Okay. Councilman Saul.
So off topic, Director, but I did want to bring this up. So Councilman Yoon brought this up at our budget meeting, Director Shea, which was related to the police overtime costs. And we have concerns over 2018 and 2019. The council president produced a year-to-date document that had suggested that we already overspent the overtime budget for 2019. That it was, I think, 6.9 million, and we budgeted something like 6.5. But you certainly know what the overtime spent is.
No, not at this point. I didn't come if you said, once again, I'll ask everybody, if you're going to ask me a question off topic, please email me first so I can have the answer. That's all I ask. This is the first I'm hearing about overtime. I'm not prepared to discuss it right now.
Okay, so at the budget hearing, we had requested information on the overtime breakdown in 2018, as well as a list of police retirements. I don't believe we've received either of those documents today.
I think
Correct me if I'm
so.
wrong.
I think we got the
Yes.
I think
We
we got the
said-
retirements.
We said that we had a
We
list of
said no
retirements.
business administration.
Let me, yeah, I think I might have sent those already.
The business administrator?
Did we get the 20?
I don't have the, Lisa's still putting together the OT numbers. We talked about it at the last council meeting, the special meeting, and I haven't gotten the full
So,
yet.
business of Brian Platt?
Yeah.
Actually, Councilman James Sullivan, myself, asked that 2018, Director?
Yes.
2018, Public Safety Department spent $6 million overtime. So actually, we, $6 million above. That's overtime, so now we ask them, if you spend the $6 million overtime, where we spend, give us a breakdown by division, and what.
That's an entire year.
It's a lot, yeah, it's a lot of work, and they're working on it. I did make the
We have
request.
4 people spending every day working on that.
They're still working on it?
Done so.
Yeah, they're working on it. So there's another component to this also. So there's like a gross spend of overtime, and then there are credits and reimbursements and that sort of stuff. So if we're doing overtime for, the housing authority, they reimburse us for a portion of that. So that's sort of, I mean, it's a changing number. It goes up and down. It's not just a straight line. So
Because the housing authority is only like $300,000, this is not a whole lot of money. But at least, if the overtime come up, we don't even motorcycle, I just said the motorcycle.
Yeah.
Well, special task force, whatever we like to come up, we like to see, based on that, we should make it.
Yeah. No,
So I talked to someone over at the county, and they told me that the Board of Freeholders gets a monthly report on overtime spends, not just for police, on
Yeah.
all departments.
Yeah.
And that's a way so that the council, as the freeholder, their body, is able to make sure that those spends are being met. And so I thought that's something as a
Right.
council that'd be great for us to get a monthly report, year-to-date spend, what's been
Yeah.
budgeted, and just to make sure those are being done, because what happened obviously in 18 is we didn't have that. It
Yeah.
wasn't until the whole year was done before we were aware of this issue. And the point that I made in the budget hearing is, if there's a case to be made that we should increase the spend, I think everyone here is willing to hear it, but we want the case to be made to us and not just assume that it's going to happen without our assent.
Understood. As we also discussed at the council meeting, we're revising our overtime oversight policies across the city. There's just a lot of ways for things to be spent without everyone paying attention, and the council report can be part of that. So we're just changing some policies and going through some of the processes too. We have a couple new directors in place as of this week and last week in some of the departments where we spend the most overtime, so we're working through all that.
You know what, actually, business administrator?
Yeah.
If the public safety department to say that it takes so many manpower, so many hours print out, what kind of overtime and we spend it, when I hear that, I scratch my head. You know why? There should be one keyboard, when you push the button, human resource department, Mark, you listen to me? When you press one button, it should tell us each department how much to spend, who has how many hours, what kind of dollar amount to spend. Result should come out just like that. If this city still try to find out how much you spend based on manpower, so it doesn't make any sense at all.
Well,
calm down.
understood and
Okay, yes.
agreed.
Calm down.
The other layer that we're adding is the use of that overtime. So it's one thing to be able to say how many hours and dollars were spent per person, that's easier. The other part of it is, what were they doing? What jobs, what types of jobs, what types of units, that sort of stuff. So that part we don't quite have in a tech system yet.
You know, when they even though, Mark,
But you can tell us what
Yes.
department is
Yeah,
spending overtime
if you use
and how is it
overtime,
going.
we're gonna-
That's all, just give us what you have.
We'll send
That's
it.
it, just give us what you have, and then
I
we'll
mean,
work on the
no,
rest.
let me add it to the
Okay.
human resource department. When the police department is overtime, the overtime should be a certain category.
It should.
By special event, parade, so and so. They should be, when you press one button, they should tell us all the report.
A blue pen.
We agree,
It's common sense.
but they don't have it yet, so give us
Yeah, no,
what you
we're-
have, and y'all working on the rest, but you know what we want,
That's
right?
why we
Yes.
actually tried, instead of put you overtime, maybe we have to increase in manpower, you know what I'm saying? Or we should be, if we continue to grow up overtime, then we gotta think about some other choice we can have it. You know what I'm saying? But without data, how would this council, and this is the body, make a decision, how are we gonna make a proper decision without any data is backed up by, your administration?
Yeah, no, I mean, so, I
I know I'm not up there, but briefly, I think the thing is that once we know what we want to track, I think there are ways to talk about how to build sort of specific codes in the system to track that data. But I guess we need to have a conversation about what is it we want to track, and then we can figure out a way, like if there's a way inside the system to do that. Because right now, it's really set up to track, is it 100% overtime, is it double time, is it triple time, right? That's basically what it tracks, is to track what is the reasoning. Brian talked about the new protocol that we're trying to create that will allow a pre-approval and post-approval process that will put everything into one system, one process, so that when they say, okay, next pay period we need 50 hours of overtime because there are 8 parades and this many people, when we actually will have in that same stream and flow of approval, what was actually worked, how many people did you actually use, how many hours did they actually work, how much did we project it was going to cost, how much did it actually cost. So to Brian's point, the goal is to try to create more transparency on our end so that everything's happening at one time. The pre-approval's happening, and immediately in that same form, we're going to see what was actually worked. We went over by 100 hours. Why? What happened? Well, why were you 100 hours over what you're estimated to be? So I think we're on the same page, and I think we're starting the process to get us there. We're just starting. Are you guys at the plan already?
Yes.
Good luck.
We're working.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
We're like, it's
All right.
there are,
Yeah.
I think we're all on the same page. and
Okay,
There
good.
are challenges.
You know what I'm saying?
and
Because
we're saying,
we know that one thing, I'm going to just openly say that our public director, as a safety director, Director Shea, he will do a great job, but we always questioning, we continue increasing manpower, and in the meantime, we continue overtime, you know what I'm saying? And they took a manpower from the North District and sent it someplace else, then we always question, what is the reason to we continue increasing manpower if not able to load the overtime? And if we continue to manpower, and also we increase overtime, and also they brought the manpower from the North District, I think that's not fair. Something we feel like missing somewhere, you know what I'm saying? So please, as long as, business owner, you understand, and they continue to provide the data to the public safety director so he can make a right decision. Even though police chief want to continue overtime, he can limit their problem, you know what I'm saying? All right? We're on the same page. Good. Thank you very much.
So let me just, I don't want to belabor this point. So when can we expect the report of, for 2018 and 2019?
I don't know. They're working through it. It was more complicated than I thought when we talked about it last week. So
We have to hand pull every single overtime report and every single roster and every single assignment and stuff.
Yeah, we've been doing it recently, but not for 28. I haven't seen it done it for 2018 yet. So we're going through it. Yeah.
We have 4 people.
Keep it close.
I have 4 people spending their entire working day doing it every single day since we were first asked about it.
And when was the first request?
Whenever it came up with the council,
last week.
Budget meeting would have been.
So the truth is, actually, so that was where I wanted to get on the record on this. The request was made
No, it was long before. When did you ask?
at the budget hearing for
Which
public
was
safety,
when?
for police. I made that request.
I'm not you, I'm saying, I think you asked me about it before that even.
We started having a meeting. Yeah.
Whatever they did, they've been out for a
The
while.
director, he was
They're in my office, they're in my office.
No,
doing
there was an
everything.
Yeah.
ongoing issue every year when you have budget hearing. So we believe that we have a new leadership from business administration and the human resources. I want to get more organizing, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking for, okay?
I mean, we had the conversation during the budget hearing about how some of the overtime was for parades and festivals, things of that nature. And so, fair enough, if we needed to.
We gave you that. This is a big deep reporting. We already broke down what was for parades, what was for this, what was for that. That's been turned over already. This is a deeper audit of every single minute of overtime. Comparing
Yes, that's what we'd like to see, so we can see.
It's not by category, it's by each actual minute spent. What was it spent on?
Understood.
Would have been done on straight time. This is the one. That's the one I've got the 4 people every day.
So I suggested at that last council meeting, just to say that, as Councilman Solomon already suggested, that there's probably agreement on spending overtime for certain things, and with regard to, you've mentioned it in the budget hearing about there are areas where we need a 24/7 presence and so forth. And I think I won't speak for everyone, but I think there's probably majority kind of agreement there around the idea that needs to be done, and we're prepared to do that, I think, as a council, to allocate those kind of dollars. I think to Councilman Yoon's point, just the idea that if there's a manpower issue, though, if like the idea that maybe if we're spending that much overtime, then maybe we should just hire more people on top of it.
That's the problem. We have hired every single police officer we can. We filled every seat that anybody would give us in New Jersey. So like, it's not an option. We're already filled, we're already taking every available slot.
It's a lot of churn, a lot of retirements, so we
We just
hire
had 14 more people
yeah.
retire. in the
So
beginning of
this
August.
is what it is. Simple.
So this information is really clerical, right? They would have to pull data, right? So
They're-
could we
yeah,
have
they're-
enough,
yeah, and they're-
could you
they're-
hire
yeah,
another clerk?
We're gonna.
That's what I'm
send
saying, it's
information,
a
yeah, it's not like we're
clerical.
not working on it.
Right,
Yeah.
it's not a police, it's a
So,
clerical.
end of day, this is the answer.
There could be other options too. I mean, outside of just straight hiring, there's lateral,
Right.
there's transfers. There are other types of ways we could handle some of those policing issues. Which you're far more aware than I am. So like, I'm not even gonna get into a lot of that stuff at this point. But I mean, I could see us looking at other options as well if there was an urgent need to do that, and particularly if our spending patterns indicated that there was a need to do something like that by allowing for transfers to the sheriff's office or corrections or whoever. I'm sorry, Councilman Yun, you were going to
So
make a
this
comment.
is what is end of day. Answer is very simple. We are 5 these are salary people, so we don't know how to figure it out. But that's a 6-figure salary. Figure it out, show to us, make understand 5 figures.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Just like I said, once again, I'm not saying this because I don't want to answer questions, but if anything off topic is coming up, if you could give me a heads up, I'll have all these answers for you.
Great.
Because I have a lot, I have 2,000 people work for me, and I don't want to come down here and not have the information you want. So anyone can email me, say, when you come down about this, I'm going to ask you about this, and I'll try to
This
have
inquiry was directed at the last meeting of the council to the business administrator, and it was suggested to us that we would have a conversation here at this meeting about it. So I'm
Okay.
not pointing fingers, I'm just saying that the inquiry was made.
As I said, it was taking a little longer than.
Understood.
No, we asked many times.
Yeah, I appreciate your patience, I do.
Director, before you leave, I'm sorry. Do you have other questions for the record?
No, I just had a statement.
So I have a statement, which is, I understand that you're meeting with the fire unions tomorrow, I believe?
Yeah.
Yeah, met with them this morning, meeting with them tomorrow, meet with them almost continually, yes.
With them regarding this situation with
Yes.
the holiday replacement as well as...
My understanding is that's what they want to discuss, yes.
Yes, okay. So we'll look forward to hearing what the results of that conversation is, because we do have this item
Yes.
that's before the city council. The other statement I want to make is that we've met, and thank you for that, on the public safety headquarters, and it's not Mr. Corrado was supposed to provide information, we're still waiting for that, so I just want to put that on the public record as well, that there were certain information requests. I don't have that in front of me, what those specific
I
things
remember
were.
that, yeah, correct.
But you recall, so...
That is Greg Corrado's putting,
Greg
not you,
Corrado's.
Greg Corrado's putting.
Yeah, Greg Corrado, I'm sorry.
Hold on, a minute, what are we talking about?
Oh, yeah.
For public safety headquarters,
Oh, before we...
proposal to move it.
Before we go move on, I think a business administration and the public safety director have to wear one thing. I'm going to make it very clear for the statement. Public safety, that build up the new public safety buildings, I have no objection. But when we try to move that communication center to that new building, I'm going to tell you guys, I think not once, 100 times we consider to move that IT communication center to public safety building, because it will be cost to taxpayer, millions and million dollars, even though we moved at the location from the, what's the name of the street?
Bishop Street?
Bishop Street to Martin Luther King Drive. They're going to provide the same purpose, they function, but just we're going to waste millions dollars. If anybody spend the time up there, please build up the public safety director. It's nothing wrong with that, but communication center should be not play with that plan. I'm going to tell you now, okay? So don't even dream it, because I'm telling you, because that, please, that major retail issue to regarding for public safety people of Jersey City, all right?
Sure.
And there's no sense to move. No, not even give one reason to move that. Okay? Just want to make sure. So I'll recommend my colleague, please stop by communication centers. You there many times, right? And what kind of jobs involved, what kind of communication center we build up with the state art from in the United States, please reconsider that.
Okay. Councilman Robinson, you still had some comment?
Yeah, well, President, you had touched on it. It was about the firehouses in the neighborhood, just making sure that we get in touch with the unions, because I know the unions has been reaching out to all of us. And I just want to say thank you to both of you, because Jersey City was showcased this week on national TV at the Liberty National. And I think the Public Safety Department did a great job down there with pulling that off with no hiccups. We just hope that we don't get a bill for overtime.
You said you would give us an audit after all of that.
Right.
Yeah, the Liberty National is, we came in under, like Greg predicted, and Director Kears ran that project, you're right, he runs those flawlessly, and we came in under budget again, right? So even what they were willing to give us, we'll be billing them less.
So they said they would pay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they reimburse us.
Right.
They reimburse us for everything, but we actually are one of the departments, he runs it so well that we come in under even what they expect to pay.
Great job, practice. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Okay. Director Bunbury? Director Bunbury has ordinance. Folks, Director Bunbury has ordinance number 3.6. 3.6. This is an ordinance amending Chapter 3 to restructure the Department of Human Resources. Okay, the floor is yours, Director.
Okay, so we had come at the last caucus meeting previously to talk about the reorganization for HR. At the time, just to refresh, I mean, the main highlights are this is a reorganization that no new hires, no salary changes, no really net change at all when it comes to money. Maybe most importantly or primarily say, I think what we did was originally the goal was we were going to have risk management, a new Office of HR Technology, and the Office of Diversity and Inclusion move under HR. In this amendment, we have changed that. In the new ordinance, I just want to go over the structure really quickly. The current structure of HR is that there are 4 divisions: workforce management, payroll, health benefits, and pension. Right, and in the new structure, what we're doing is bringing that down to just 2 divisions. Okay, so there's 2 divisions now. 1 division of employee benefits, and we're going to consolidate health benefits and pension into 1 division, just like the state. I mean, the state does it the same way. And I think we're also going to allow them to take over responsibility for other benefits as well. So whether that's city bike, credit union memberships, we get reduced insurance for certain things because of our status. BJs, anything that we get as a city employee, we want to have 1 place for the employees to go to get information about all those benefits. So that's the goal of making 1 division of employee benefits. Second is the division of employee relations and strategic workforce management. So that's going to continue to house a lot of the primary HR functions that we continue to house right now, dealing with manager-employee issues, EEO investigations, civil service compliance, general workforce management issues working with the departments overall, and we're creating 2 offices under that. So risk management is now under administration. They would come down under HR. And then second is a new office of HR technology. So the point of the Office of HR Technology is to just better align the HR department with modern best practices for HR. We have a new HR system. In most organizations, payroll and management of the HR system are 2 different functions. They're not the same. In the city for a long time, they were mixed together. So the goal is to create a new Office of HR Technology. The head of that will be the sort of HRIS, HR System Manager. So for example, when there's specific reports, data, and things that we want to have regularly reported, that person is going to be in charge of really driving a lot of the workforce data that I think the council, departments, and many people need. and including things like our employee portal, right? So with the new HR system comes the ability to have an online employee portal where you can go on and get your check stubs, get your W-2, someone who's gonna really be in charge of moving forward HR technology overall, right? So the goal is actually to fill that with existing staff. So we have existing staff in payroll who have very strong backgrounds in that area. We're going to, as I think you know, payroll's moving over to finance, and the goal is going to be to make payroll just a payroll processor. They're not managing the HR system. They process the payroll, and that's it. So we feel very confident in my consultations with people in the division that we can move some of those key sort of higher functioning staff over to HR technology, and the payroll division will be able to still function very successfully. So again, the goal overall is just to consolidate, to modernize, to improve collaboration, and improve service to the employees with no new hires. So
Let me ask this way then.
yes.
I agree with 100%.
Okay.
Because now the management things is changed. One is the decision maker, the other processing.
Yep.
So you build up both system more like a processing functions include that.
Yes.
So now, short term and the long term. By short term, what you can achieve by this reorganization to your department?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest things to me is on the employee benefit side is delivery of service. I think right now we are still, I think, very dated when it comes to benefits, when it comes to benefits outreach, engagement, use of technology. I think that's one of the biggest things I really want to move forward. I think we've been successful in some ways. I mean, I think the prescription drug audit that we talked about, which I think we'll be able to report to council about that soon, but there's different things that we've started doing, but I think from a technology and outreach standpoint, I want to make sure we're doing more health fairs. I want to make sure that we're doing more things to personalize service to the employees. I want to make sure that every employee understands their pension benefits and their healthcare benefits from the time they start here. And I think by restructuring a bit, my immediate goal is just improving quality of service and being able to get more data on how satisfied new employees are when it comes to their orientation, when it comes to their onboarding or overall like sort of start process with the city. So that's my immediate goal, is very much focused on improvement of service for the employees, employee benefits. I think in workforce, on the employee relations and workforce management side, I think consolidation and improving, I think, operations is one of my immediate goals, with risk management specifically. I think, again, in most places, risk management is under HR. It's not a separate function that's outside of HR. So I think being able to better collaborate with them when it comes to managing workers' comp cases, when it comes, which is always a huge issue for a lot of our directors when people are out on workers' comp for extended periods of time. Being able to manage that better, being able to manage, I think, in general, how we deal with facilities risk management, talking about things like workplace violence and issues like that that are very important, that I think we really need to be a lot more progressive and aggressive about ensuring that the workforce in our buildings are prepared for those kinds of incidences. And then HR technology is really about just improving delivery of data to the departments, to the council, and to anyone who needs it. I think right now it's not clear who that person is in the city, and I think I want to make it very clear that we have a function that's very much dedicated to getting the data that the departments need to make better decisions about operations, and that the council needs to make decisions about how things are functioning in the city. I really think our new HR system is far more robust, once we really get it to full capacity, far more robust than our prior system. And we just need someone to take the lead on getting it to where it needs to be so that we can really unleash the potential that it has. Because from a data standpoint, there's so much more we can do with the system than the prior one.
So my last comment is that, and you and business Brian Platt and hired a consulting company supported by City Council. They're auditing workers' comp. So you guys are able to save millions of dollars, taxpayer dollars.
Yeah.
Through the workers' comp, I'm going to give you like a 5-star.
Okay.
It's a good job.
Yeah.
Continue to build to some innovative idea.
Sure.
Continue need to improve the HR department.
Yeah, I agree.
Keep good work, okay?
All right.
Other questions, council members?
No.
So the last time you provided us with the chart.
Yes.
Typical organization.
Yes.
Do we have that for
Yeah,
this year?
I can provide that. I don't have the updated one. My apologies. I realized that as soon as I got up here. But I can forward it to Marlene if that's...
That's great.
Okay.
And then I had provided a series of questions. Some of that was answered with the things that you handed out last time, and some of it wasn't. So if you could
Yes.
review those questions.
Yep.
Do you need me to resend those questions?
I think
or-
I have them.
You do,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I think we did, I remember we corresponded a bit, I think the chart answered some of those questions, but yeah, there was a couple that.
And did you look at the, last question I have to add to, did you look at the matter of the police department? That because of the lot of litigation, employee-related issues come from the public safety area. Did you look at the matters, how we're gonna be, manage that issue?
Yeah, I mean, one of the challenges is that the uniformed police officers are overseen by internal affairs, and that's by Attorney General order, so I only have a very limited ability to control.
But I mean that at least you can provide some kind of a seminar or class, you know what I'm saying? Like you provide any other,
Yes.
especially management group,
You should just ask.
you know what I'm saying?
Michael, what did you ask him?
Oh, because we have, if it's a city, look at all the litigation we involved regarding the employee issue, then a lot of issue come from the public safety department. So I asked for an issue, they should do some HR, should be involved at their public safety department regarding for employee issue relation, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he said that by Attorney General's more, they involved that, then at least we can provide seminar
training,
class to management groups, what they can do, what they cannot do.
Okay,
you know
so
what I'm
just
saying?
kind of general management skills is what you're
Yes.
talking about, right?
All right.
Okay.
The police fear,
Okay.
public service.
So, with, currently,
Yeah,
there are 4 divisions
correct.
and 2 offices, meaning the Office of Affirmative Action, Office of Risk Management.
Well,
And then-
risk management is not under us currently, but yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, they
on
would
its own,
be,
it's a
yeah.
separate, where is it, the BAs, right?
Yeah,
Correct.
So, with this reorganization, under HR, you'll now have 2 divisions and
2 offices.
2 offices.
Correct.
Okay. So can you provide me, and you don't have to say their names here, but
Yeah.
the
Employees?
the employees for the division,
Yep.
the current divisions and the division directors
Yep.
within the existing divisions, and then your proposed,
Yep.
if you know that at this
Yeah.
point, who's the heads of the different divisions and offices in your new proposed structure
Yep.
around that?
Absolutely.
Okay. With salary
Yep.
dollars attached to them. As they are currently, and then I guess what they would be, so again, knowing that the policy is $90,000 per division director minimum, right? Is that accurate? What the current salary is, and then what the proposed salaries are.
Yeah, I can definitely do that. And the overall, I'll just add really quickly to that. So we have a couple of division directors who have retired or will be retiring out of both the current health benefits division and pension division. So that's where the sort of, I don't know, well, how's that money being made up? That's how it will be made up. But yeah, I'll provide the breakdown to you.
Right. Let me go back to what Councilman Yun raised with regard to kind of your goals for the various divisions. So you talk about the service quality. What's the baseline there? Do you have baselines for that, the improvement of delivery of service?
Yeah, so actually what we're planning to do this year, we already have the survey drafted, is to actually send out sort of a citywide employee satisfaction survey when it comes to HR services, broken down by division. I think when I talk about service quality, at least what I know anecdotally, is I think the ability for the benefits divisions as they exist right now to provide, I think, really clear, responsive, tailored information to employees when it comes to their benefits, and I think how they go about doing that, right? So I know right now that when I started as director, PDF forms were not being given out to employees when it came to anything they need to fill out. I think the use of technology in both of those divisions is very minimal when it comes to the employee side. And so I know that already, just from understanding the operations, that there's not a very strong use of technology when it comes to delivering services to the employees. So my baseline is sort of anecdotally that, but I'm planning to use the survey to also specifically quantify, how satisfied people are with the quality of service they get from each of those divisions, and that would be the benchmark I want to go off of, and then measure again, of course, sort of post-consolidation and see how we are.
Do you have a report of the baseline at this point? Something that, so you'll still have to wait for the survey, but you said that you already have something.
Well, no, I said what I know just from a technology standpoint, and when it comes to what ability in those divisions exists for employees to access information, right, to get information that they need in a very easy and transparent and simple way is very limited. And I think, let's say in workforce management, for example, there are things that I've seen where we have taken the new hire process used to be completely paper-based, right? You had to come into the HR department, fill out all of your paperwork. And we were able to move that entire process online through the platform that we use called NeoGov, right? So now any new hire is completing all their paperwork online, scheduling any pre-employment reviews or physicals online, and then can move forward in the process. Whether that's DocuSign, right, where we took our personnel status form, which were all paper-based, and found a better way to do that entire employee status change approval process. So I know in that division we've done a lot more when it comes to technology innovation, but I know in the benefits divisions we haven't done as much. And I think the focus is going to be to really bring them up to where workforce management is.
So let me give an example, which is just, and I assume this falls under employee relations, strategic workforce management, but new hires and the processing of new hires, and going through the approval processes for that. So do you have as a baseline, like it takes 20 days to process and get them into the workforce after they've been essentially hired and the green light is given to hire somebody, right? Yeah. And then do we look, is the goal there to get it down to say 10 or something like that? And that's what I'm trying to get at. This,
no, I think that's completely valid. So that's actually something that we are measuring right now. And we definitely, I think, can provide a report at the end of the year to the council about time to, let's call it the time to hire, right? So what we're trying to measure is, we tell the departments, you need to give us this much time to get the status form approved and to ensure that the person starts on a pay period start date. And the goal is, we want to see how often we're able to hit that start date, right? We give them an estimated start date, and we want to see how often we hit it. So we're tracking that data right now, and I'm happy, like I said, to provide a report to the council at the end of the year with that information, because we were recently able to do this because we changed our system so that everyone should start on a pay period start date. State does it that way. Most organizations do it that way. We were not doing it that way. So now that we have a consistent ability to see certain start dates, we can now then measure more accurately at the end of the year, okay, how much were we able to deliver to the departments when we told them someone's going to start on this date, did they actually start on that date? So we are tracking that information right now. Like I said, happy to provide that information at the end of the year.
And then just talking about getting data to users. So innovation does some of that too, right? At this point, so like what's the relationship between kind of HR technology and getting data to folks with innovation in that regard?
There's definitely, so one of the issues is generating the data in the first place from the technology. There's not a good system in place to get the data first. So once that's in place, innovation does help. A lot of departments put that technology in place. HR, other places that doesn't need so much help. So.
Yeah, I mean, I know that they certainly provide a lot of data, work with departments on providing a lot of data. And at the end of the day, a report can be produced out of the HR system that is an Excel format, right? So that information could be given to innovation to tailor it, alter it in some way. But I think the goal with the HR technology office is to have someone who's specifically in charge of managing the data in the system, right? And making sure that we're able to generate reports that answer questions that departments need to be answered. So I think, I don't want to sound like anyone's underestimating the complexity of what it means to sort of be an expert at managing an HRIS system, but in most organizations, it's a six-figure job, and especially for an organization of our size, it's someone that has to have extensive computer background experience and someone who's incredibly knowledgeable in using HRIS systems. So it's not as simple sometimes as we think it is to just pull these reports. Sometimes they have to use computer programming language to pull the specific reports that are needed. And I just want to make sure we understand that the level of skill that you need is a little bit more involved than we may think. So the goal is to get that person inside of HR who understands that, like, we want to be able to get data just as easy as innovation or anyone else is getting data, especially for our directors, for the council, for whoever. And that's what we want to get our system up to. It's not there yet, but I believe that if we get the right director in place, we'll be able to get there.
Anyone else have questions related to 3.6?
And before you leave that year, we're gonna have a council aide gonna be, I just wanna make it,
Oh yeah, why don't we talk about that now?
yeah,
We still
but
have
while
HR,
you're
but
here,
it's-
look, I needed some.
It's a good point, Councilman.
The HR department, the definition of the council aide as a full-time council aide, right?
So, yeah. So,
Yeah, go ahead.
You go first.
okay. So, I mean, the state law that was passed provides that the council can have both full-time or, 2 part-time aides, right? So it's important to distinguish the title of the employee and their employment class, right? So the title of the employee is aide to the council person. Their employment classification could be full-time or part-time. It is up, not to me, but to the council people to decide how many aides they want to hire. So I would say we can do it full-time or part-time, whatever you want to do.
So in other words, just want to make it while you're here.
Yeah.
You have to ask the PA, and while you're here, I'm going to ask you. So I'm going to just, let's say $100,000 here. It's like a budget kind. So I can have the 50,000 to, well, $100,000, correct? Okay.
I didn't think about
Well,
that.
the numbers aren't that high. Yes, theoretically,
I just use the high number. I feel good.
Yes.
You all talk at 6 figures, I scratch my head, but fine. So if we keep it to 50,000, we can have 2 of 25,000 part-time, or we can have 150,000 full-time.
Correct.
Correct?
Correct.
Good.
Correct. And I believe that ordinance is on.
That, from the state law, no other way, right? It
Right.
can't be 3 for
Correct.
2020.
And I correct. That's my understanding is that there
That's
is
number
a cap.
one. Number two,
Yeah.
the council, peoples in council aid have a very unique job time schedule.
Yeah.
So they don't have to be sign in, sign out, or what are they called? Scan the hands.
Yeah, correct.
Because sometimes they stay in the community meeting till
Yeah.
10, 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
You know, so we all know that.
Yeah.
They're flexibly working out, they can adjust.
Correct. So number one, the policy changes we made about, let's say, most employees have to hand scan now, does not apply to people like yourselves that are elected or people like your aides that are appointed.
Yeah.
So they don't have to scan in at all.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because
Yeah.
not only ourselves, our aid gonna get like
Of course, yeah.
So we want it, they are all, it's the same page,
Correct.
so a better relationship.
Yes.
Thank you.
So while you're still here, we're
Yes.
talking about 3.7.
Okay. Yes.
So council members, at almost everyone's request, I introduced this ordinance on behalf of the council, adjusting the council aide salaries. And just for the public record, so that those who are watching may know this, the current council salaries were capped by state law, and so just recently, the state passed legislation that removed the cap so that the city council, the governing body could set the salary for the council aide. The original cap was capped at 15,000 for each council aide, and as you said, it's an unclassified position, and so whether they put in 20 hours, 40 hours, 60, 80 hours,
Right.
it was 15,000 no matter what, right?
Correct,
So,
correct.
so this is really a good development for Jersey City and for the council members to be able to have this, and in comparison to our city of comparable size in Newark, New Jersey, they have 4 aides. Again, just putting that on the record, and hopefully with the next census, that'll all change. That being said, this ordinance was introduced because at a previous budget hearing, we talked about 45,000 as a salary for council aides. As Councilman Yun said, it could be set to 100,000 or any number, because the law doesn't say that what the salary is for that full-time aide. And in my reading, and I'll defer to law and HR about this as well, is that it doesn't set the salaries for the part-time, although benefits are not accorded to anyone who's part-time,
Right.
according to my understanding of the law. And again, I'll defer to both of you on that. And so the 2 part-time aides, if you opt to go in that direction, while this is written at 22.5, it doesn't have to be. And I just put that in because it just seemed logical, half of what 45 is. But they do not get benefits, so if for those of you, I'm personally opting for 1 full-time aide and with benefits, but if you choose to opt for part-time aide at 22.5 and you wanted to do more because that person doesn't get benefits and increase that, I personally wouldn't stand in your way with that, so but I'm just letting that be known.
The last part.
Yeah.
That if you wanted to adjust that part-time salary, because it's just set at half of what 45 is, but the law doesn't say, as I understand it, now, so I'll defer to law in the HR department, but the law doesn't say it has to be 22.5. If you wanted to set it at 2 part-time aides at 25,000, because they're not collecting benefits, then that might, so you may think that's more equitable and fair to those potential aides.
For Mr. Bunbury, but I don't think that that's actually.
Yeah, because my thing is, if we have to set the salaries if they have to be set by ordinance, which I believe they do, I don't think you could do something where you have 2 part-time aides making more than what 1 full-time aide is permitted to make under the ordinance. So I don't know if you want to do a range. I don't know if you want to say that the 2 part-time salaries their salaries may be no greater than 1 full-time aide salary. I can talk to law. We can confirm that, but I don't know if
I would ask you to look at the statute.
Correct.
Just to take a second read of that, because that's not how I understood the statute, as I read it. But
So let me ask this one. This one, 3.7, they put your council aide salary 45,000. This is adjustable numbers, right? Till second reading, right?
it could, but if we adjust it again, then it's going to be a substantial change, right? So,
If we just change it, so in other words, change the number is a substantial change.
so by Wednesday, it'll be a substantial change. So if we change it in September meeting, then it'll go to another meeting after that if you make a change.
No, we don't want things happen. But when we introduce, if we change, it's okay then?
If you change it by Wednesday, by first reading before we
You
vote.
could change it by Wednesday.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then we're okay, right?
So if you have thoughts about that, feel free to share.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so I believe that the state law, the language is each full-time aide may be divided into 2 part-time aide positions, which shall be considered the equivalent of 1 full-time aide, allowing not more than 2 total part-time aides or 1 full-time aide. So I guess it's not, to your point, Council President, I don't know if it's addressing the question that the salary of 2 cannot be greater, but if the law is that they should be equal to 1, I would argue maybe there is some argument that the salaries of 2 should be equal to the 1 full-time.
So do we pay out for benefits if people don't take their benefits in the city?
Well, technically, if you're eligible for benefits and you don't take them, you get a waiver reimbursement for waiving your benefits.
So you can make that argument as well, that the waiver, essentially it's like a waiver reimbursement, and so the cost of that waiver reimbursement maybe could be translated into dollars, right, for somebody who's not taking benefits. Right?
Well, if you're eligible though, right? If you're eligible, right? So if you're not eligible for benefits, you would not get the waiver. So if you're
As
not,
the law states right now, is it possible, well, with this ordinance, it says 45.
Right.
Would it still be possible to have 1 at 30, 1 at 15? It's still 45. What if one aide works 30 hours a week and one works 15?
I think that's.
But
I think that's.
listen to me.
Yeah.
So we're gonna make it clear their part. That's hold on a minute. Just hold on a minute. Okay. This is what it is. That's why I just want to make sure among our colleagues. First things, aide as a full-time, that's the way it's supposed to go. Many years since 2013, I bring up the issue. Now finally, 6 years later, they understand what I mean. Fine. Good sign. But meantime, that's one, full-time. Second one, current time, we have seasonal aid already. So whichever day, we have 2 aid, 1 full-time and 1 seasonal. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to be seasonal, going to be staying with us. So now if you divide 2 part-time based on total 45,000, then you actually have a 3 aid. Understand? So 2 part-time and 1 seasonal. So you're gonna have 3 aides. So now I'm insisted our colleague, we should be playing almost same rules we should play. It's better for everybody. We should full-time aide, based on salary, gonna be talk about till, we got time till Wednesday, number one. Number two, we're gonna be continue to have a seasonal, so we're gonna have one full-time, one seasonal aide. So we have each council people, well, we have 2 aide. Thank you, same page?
Seasonal
Understand?
comes in the summer.
How long is the season?
Seasonal is all year round.
No, it's not.
Yes, we know that, but every 6
not.
months to renew.
Right.
So now, you just heard that, right? Every 6 months,
No,
Yeah,
it's
not-
6 months within a one-year period.
Period, right.
whatever.
So then that's it. After
You only
6 months,
get
then you
6
gotta wait
months.
another year.
And you-
Correct.
if
For that
you hire them for
specific
6 months, you terminate them after 6
Right.
months.
Right.
And then you can't rehire them for another 6 months.
Right.
Right.
You
We
hire
can
someone
hire
else.
6 months.
Correct.
Yeah,
You can hire
I've
someone else.
explained this multiple times. So I don't wanna-
Yeah, but listen, when I spoke with them, I spoke in a different way. Maybe, so then, we got a little different story now. Then, no, then, we're gonna talk about the different numbers.
Well, if I can
think-
make a suggestion, go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry, Councilman.
I think maybe if you increase the salary, then each council person will have an option to have one or have two.
Right. And I think it could be something where, like, as long as the salaries of 2 are equal to
Right.
the salaries of
That's
1,
why
then the
if you increase
flexibility
the
can
salary,
exist.
increase
I mean,
the
if you
salary,
want to
you
do
can
the
do it.
15 and 30 or whatever you want to do.
We budgeted for seasonals anyway, right now, so
Right,
Yes, but
you have that.
So, but
Right.
we, even though we, let me finish that. Even though we budgeted for seasonal, but that's the problem, because after 6 months they work out 1 year, and if the person wait for another 6 months, then they have no, work is not gonna be connect to each other, you know what I'm saying?
It
So
won't.
we're gonna be, at the end of the day, who get
So-
damaged?
that's why if you
But
increase the
let's-
salary.
Even though we spend the money,
I've been meaning to have this conversation. So we have a hire that's called student assistant.
Yeah.
It's an unclassified position.
Correct.
Does the law say that that has to be a seasonal position?
So, the unclassified employment of student assistant does not, to me, have to be a seasonal position. You
Okay.
could hire someone as a student assistant on a part-time
Part-time
work.
basis.
Right, correct. I mean,
Correct.
you could
You could hire them on a full-time basis
could hire them on a full-time
with benefits,
basis,
frankly.
yeah, so council president,
Yes.
then you put your $45,000, actually, it's under what we expected that. Because I have to tell you straightforward, even though you pay today $45,000 a year, anybody make after tax, maybe some 30-some thousand dollars, but hard to survive in Jersey City currently under the living condition, living cost. It's almost impossible.
It's expensive.
Very, especially, maybe downtown, the heights, they cannot even rent the space. So we gotta have to think about that. And also, based on my 6 years experience as a councilperson, one full-time aide is not enough to provide the service to the people in my district. Because we have to know that years ago, the councilperson even have $5,000 of part-time aide able to handle. You know why? If anybody complain, they write on the letters, what they call. Today's, if you see the secret
Yeah, of
fix
course.
or other program and
Right.
email,
Social media.
hundreds, just we need one part-time person to monitoring social media itself to respond to them.
Yeah.
So we live a totally different environment, and as council we provide service. So instead of 45,000, no question about it, we need one full-time, we need one, not seasonal, just a year-round part-time is required. So this is the time when you fix the right.
Right.
Don't try to make just when you go 5 miles.
Yeah, so I mean, the only thing is, like I said, I mean, the state law says it's 1 full-time or 2 part-time. So that
As far
I
as
hear you.
council aides go.
Right,
Yeah,
as far as the
right.
aid, right, exactly, as far as
Right,
the
but you
direct
have
aid to the
other
council people go. So
You have
that's,
other
For
that-
student assistant is
It's different.
different.
Right. We still have
But
that option.
if you're not hiring a student,
Right.
that's when we got into this issue of seasonal workers. and
Correct.
so on,
Right.
So,
But when you seasonal worker only work for 6 months a year,
Correct.
that's no good. Just
I mean,
so my office, just so folks know,
6 months' work.
my office is looking for other unclassified positions, knowing that you could have this bind of 6 months out of a year,
Yeah.
and trying to identify other potential unclassified titles that
Yes.
may fit to
Yeah.
work with, within your office or something to that effect. So-
Yeah, I mean, so let me say, I mean, one, I 100%, I agree with you. Unfortunately, it is not the HR department's rules, it's the state's rules on what it means to hire someone seasonally. I think when you think about departments like other places in the city, they have constant issues with this because it requires us, technically under civil service, to be constantly removing people and then having to rehire people again. So I understand 100%. It's frustrating because there's, like you said, there's no ability to have a transition, right? It's that person's there for 6 months, then they go, and then a new person starts. Right, I hear you.
I'm going to offer one other solution.
Yeah.
And I've mentioned this in the past, it's been a little while since I talked about it. So we do have two clerks who work at the front desk, right? And then obviously we have the council administrator, which is an unclassified title, is that right? I forget her exact, it's not council administrator, but council secretary with the official unclassified civil service title, I guess. When I was a council aide, long ago, I won't date myself here, there used to be 5 clerks in this office, right? And 4 of them were full-time, 1 of them part-time, I think. And personally, I think you could probably hire a clerk for every council person if you wanted to. The difference is that they're all civil service, right? So they're going to be with you, whether you sit in this office, they're going to be in this council office for the next council person that comes after you, if it's not you, and going forward into the future. So that's something we could do, but everyone on the council would have to agree. If you wanted your own clerk and you wanted to have that, then that would be, I would be fine with that personally. If you wanted that as well and you wanted to hire somebody extra on your staff to help out with, to provide you some support, but just know that that person is going to be there for beyond your life, potentially. And if that's the case, then, you know,
See,
hire wisely.
actually, go ahead.
So what are I guess, the current roles of the 2 clerks that we have now? Do they fall under Marlene? Are they working on their own? Can we go to them for support on certain things?
They work for the council as a whole, but they report to Marlene, is my understanding, so.
I mean, job description, what is their job?
But I mean, I think, and HR would probably provide you better direction, if we were to have like a clerk for every council person, I guess you could probably sign it so that it was reported to the council person, not to.
Oh, yeah, I mean, there's nothing that, at least as far as I know, that would prohibit that. Yeah, I think you're mostly just dealing with, like many places in the city do, like this is the way it's been done, and if it's time for it to be done a different way, I think we can talk about what that means. But it's just like the council president says, you know, once you hire someone as a, say, clerk 1, you know, they become permanent employees after 90 days, and they are here, you know, and they cannot be separated without just cause and, you know, a proper process as civil service has to review. So, you know, that's the other side.
Let me put it this way.
And should I just add this, as a classified and civil service title, so as an unclassified title, and, you know, I think we all expect more from our council aides than their salary probably like requires of them, right? For a civil service position of a clerk and so forth, they have the same protections as everyone else in civil service. So if you think they're going to like do beyond 40 hours without getting some overtime or something like that, don't expect that. Don't expect them to necessarily go out on a weekend or unless you've got some sort of arrangement in terms of like hours in advance and so forth.
Mr. Official and Mom, I'm asking all those things. It's not for me. Well, it will be benefit to us to provide to me as a councilperson service to the resident in my area. Yes, but more likely I see the future. We all council people in this room is actually a temporary job. Tom, 2 years, 4 years, we're gonna go in and out. But we actually, whatever we set up the plans and rules and regulations in place is for the next people coming to able to provide the service to people for the Jersey City.
Yeah.
Now, if you would change a seasonal employee every 6 months, you believe or not, AD's job is not simple, pick up the phone.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you,
I agree.
because let's say Councilman James Sullivan produced such a nice survey report. The person, no, don't just go like this, they go like that. It's not based on simple person can handle it.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? So even though they work $15,000 an hour, more than $45,000 a week, they are really professional laws and a very high education background that they have.
Yeah.
So we gotta have to find a way to maximize. And also, reason I say council, the president say that maybe we increase manpower, but this is another my future goal as a council person. Each council person should have their own funding by City of Jersey. They should have their own office in each district. You know, look at it. 95% of municipal government out of 565 municipal government, they smaller than my district, but they are full government. So we have a whole different now areas we get it. And if a council person mirror her district, probably 50,000 people live there, but totally populate only 15,000 people, they have full government provide service. If it's a Mira able to only her one part-time, how is she going to handle this problem service, what the people's looking for? So we gotta have about time to change the way we think council aids role.
Yeah.
Time to change.
I agree.
So instead we change it every damn years, let's change it now, all right? Now, so whoever elected next to 2020, 21, let them provide true, not the fake, true service to people of Jersey City.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people believe that, let me finish. They think council pay extra dollars. No. In the end of the day, you get what you pay for.
I agree.
If you pay $15,000, if you service, then you know what that means? You waste $15,000 a year.
I agree.
But if you pay $40,000 a year, and if a person provide $4 million service to the taxpayer, that's what is the right investment. So increase pay, don't look at the pay increase. They look at the pay increase, look at it as an investment in the future of Jersey City.
Right.
Did I say right?
Okay.
This time we don't understand the base.
Did I say, okay?
Okay.
Like we all ain't
All right,
like the same
folks.
course here.
Councilman Solomon has the floor.
Just two very, very brief points. Pending this discussion on the part-time aides, potentially one option on Wednesday would be to create a range of 15 to 30, not to exceed 45.
Right.
So that gives people that option to go within them, as opposed to just setting in a 225. And then the second thing that I would encourage the council for us to do is, if we pass this at first reading, which I assume would do, is maybe to hold a very quick special meeting as soon as possible to just pass the raises and eliminate the 20-day waiting period, just so we can get that new salary in, because they actually, in our view, this should have been done a year ago with a 33. So if we can get this done as legally as quickly as possible, so they start getting the
But
salary.
James, before we go that far, we gotta change the salary
The salary has to
first.
be changed.
No, I know, but I'm saying this for second reading. What I'm saying is,
No,
Now.
introduction.
yes,
Before you introduce, we have
Got it. So if you have an amendment, please let Marlene know, and so that we can figure out what the amendment is by the time Wednesday
Okay,
arrives.
so let me recommendation then.
So,
Yeah, go ahead.
So about doing the special meetings, so we could probably take your time on this a little bit, because we could just have the start date be retroactive to the date that the state law took effect.
Right.
August
The 19th.
okay,
Right.
you can do that, that's great.
So you just,
Sure, that's
I
fine.
think if you want to make changes, you can wait.
If we're allowed to do that, that's
Correct.
fine.
You are allowed to.
That's fine.
Great.
So this is what it is. So then I'm gonna be always a bad guy. So my suggestion is to 45,000, then we change the 60,000 and the 45,000 to the one full-time. You know, one is a 15,000 is one part-time.
Yeah.
Sounds great, and it's the right way to play. Even though people criticize me, I will take fire, but when you do right.
I Agree.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, Councilman Robinson?
Well, if we don't go with Councilman Young, then I think that he makes a valid point. I don't agree with him often, but
What?
what happens to our aides now that has medical benefits? If you make two separate, do you have to cancel their benefits?
Yeah, so this is actually a really good question. I did ask, I think Scott in the law department about this a couple weeks ago, and we have to follow up and discuss it. Because right now, you could be a part-time employee, right? You're working 25 hours, you're part-time, but you'll be eligible for benefits.
Yeah.
Or you could be a part-time employee working 20 hours, and you would not get benefits because you don't work 25. So the question now is, the state law says if you're part-time period, whether you're 25, 30, anything less than full-time, you don't get anything. So that's a little bit of a conflict. So I'm waiting to see, I have to follow up like this week, maybe I'll follow up this week with Peter, and we'll discuss that.
Can you send that out to us once you get an answer?
Yeah, yes, because I mean, the statute may control and may, you know, even if that's our own policy, if the statute says it, if you're not full-time, you're part-time and you can't get benefits. So we'll have to see what we conclude on that. Yeah, let me make a note.
So we're gonna up this?
Okay.
I can't plan it. Are we
Anything
gonna
else?
increase the salary?
If you have,
That's what I'm saying, we all here now, I don't know.
Okay.
Everyone's got a-
so, put someone put a proposal on the table.
I can
I
say,
think mine said 60, right? Did you say?
Michael said 60 with the idea
this
of,
way if you need to, you got 30.
Right.
So I asked the question honestly because, my aide right now makes $15,000. She's very much more than full-time. She's like full-time and a half. And I'm
Right.
sure everyone else's aide here is the same, and they have, health benefits.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna keep them that way, then you're gonna cut their health benefits, which won't be fair to, Kia and the rest of the aides that's here, that we're gonna have to cut their benefits just because now they're gonna be deemed part-time, but
Right.
because they're deemed part-time right now, but. I
So
know
they're
my
not
aide
deemed
is-
part-time right now. I know this is always a little interesting, but ultimately, what the state law said was that there's a cap on their salary of $15,000, which maybe, I don't know if at some point the translation became they're part-time because of that salary, but there was nothing, at least as far as I read in the Faulkner Act, that ever said they had to be part-time. We always classified them technically as being full-time employees, but just at $15,000 a year per the state statute. So that's,
So.
like internally, if you pull any of them in the system,
Mom?
and our-
They are, yeah,
sorry.
because they can get
They're,
benefits.
right, they get benefits, right?
Actually, City of Jersey
Yeah.
violating federal guideline. When they call salary, they have to at least $20,000 a year.
Okay,
When
so-
by federal law.
Okay.
But we, City of Jersey, call the salary and we pay half of what federal government guidelines.
So
let's resolve the salary issue.
Yeah, I did previously send some, I know this came up before, I did send some email correspondence about this, that essentially people who are appointed in government positions like aides are exempt from the general guidelines of minimum wage. So I hear you, on many levels I agree with you 100%, but we're just trying to operate within the state and federal guidelines on this, and I think there's been, luckily, like you said, some progress. I think it's a good thing they removed the cap. But the next step for us is whatever it is the council wants to set as a salary. I think it's more than fair. I know your aides work very hard. And
Business administration, do we have money?
The money's there. It's
Money's
fine.
there?
Yes.
Well, for this year certainly, because we budgeted for a full year
Oh,
for
full
these,
year, right,
and it's
right.
prorated, but I don't know, depends on the number that we choose.
Okay, so now, why don't we do this way? It's a $45,000 one, but when we increase to $60,000,
Yeah.
one $45,000 and $15,000 part-time. Both call part-time. You know why?
If you
Some
choose-
people working in the mayor's office, part-time, make $50,000 a year. You know what I'm saying? Some person I know, I'm not gonna say the name of the person, make
I'm not-
work as a
I'm with you there,
part-time,
Mike.
Well, so, yeah.
very
I'm
funny
with you.
title,
I'm
make
with you.
$40,000-$50,000 a year.
Because of the nature of the position,
That's
the
it.
hours can be flexible.
Nature of position, yeah, nature of position, the same
So it
thing.
doesn't have to necessarily be part-time.
Cross the hole this way is same. So we can say that we're gonna have two part-time.
Okay, so we're
You
agreeing to
guys
figure
figure
it out and we can.
Okay,
move
please.
on. Yeah.
You make a 6-figure, I told you. We make a 5-figure.
Right.
So let them, your job is a 6-figure come up solution. All right, good.
Okay, so how are we walking into this meeting with what number?
Right.
60?
What do y'all agree with? Let's talk.
Yeah, let's talk.
Michael's proposal, as I understand it, is the
Most reasonable.
the aide position would be 60,000, and the part-time position, you can only get 2, and it would be up to 45K, but then obviously not to exceed 60 for the 2 positions total.
Yeah.
If you do 1, it's 60. If you do 2, it's between 15 and 45, but not to exceed 60. I think that's Michael's proposal. I'm fine with that.
I'm fine
I think
with
that's
that, too. I think it's fair.
60 is a fair wage for the work that they do.
I would suggest just a small amendment to that, which is the minimum wage for the city
Right.
is $15 an hour.
Right.
So that equates to $31,320.
Right.
And I think currently it's 32 is what's in the ordinance. I mean, I don't know if we want to consider that.
I don't
and,
want to for my
You know,
age.
okay, yeah, so I
I
don't.
don't.
In terms of part-time people,
Oh,
I don't know if we want to consider, at the minimum is the city's minimum wage at 40 hours a week.
To have a floor.
Right,
Like a floor for the
Part-time
minimum.
is 20 hours, right? I mean, in theory, I mean, I know the job doesn't require that.
15
But let's say that, right, yeah.
15 times of 20 is $300. 300 times of 52 is $18,000. The $15,000.
So you're saying set a floor of 18,000 and a
yeah,
maximum of
fine.
45 for
Yeah,
part-time.
that's fine.
Something like that.
Okay?
Okay, so who's drafting that to walk it on Wednesday?
Right.
Will someone send us in writing what the exact request is?
Okay, Michael, can you send it in writing to?
Why you put your mind in it?
Just for the last 30 minutes.
I'm the one.
You just got a standing ovation for this.
All right.
You know what? You know, as a whole, as a council, I like to give the job. They be better because you don't do nothing up there. All right, maybe?
No, come on, let's not go there.
All right.
So, again, my request is by tomorrow morning, please send us exactly what you want. We will incorporate it into the draft ordinance, and we will get that prepared.
Okay. So my hopes, your hopes work together.
Yes.
Basically.
Okay.
We're gonna do
They're
this.
honest.
Where's my-
Thank you, Michael. Okay?
Fire.
Okay, folks. All right, we got a lot more to go. We have a lot more to go. The food is arriving what time?
The food is here, lunch is done.
Folks, okay, lunch is here for those who want to eat lunch. We can either just keep working through and eat as you go, or how do you want to do it?
I would recommend a working lunch, given how
Yeah, we have a lot
how
to
little
do, but
we've done so far.
It's fine with me.
You want to take
So to take 5 minutes to get the food and come
Okay,
back, and then
everybody, we're gonna take 5 minutes.
5 minutes lunch.
No, take your food back, council members.
working lunch.
Enough for everyone?